Okay, this is the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Decennial Committee on Local Government Efficiency. It is Wednesday, June 26, 2024, and the time is 3:05 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
DeBevic. Delgado. Fasella.
Present.
Friedman.
Here.
Gnat.
Present.
Nudo. Tanner Harold. And Ula. Quorum is present.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
You're talking about the
So moved.
Decennial,
full meeting of the board?
just the Decennial Committee. Decennial Committee. That's what we're on. I'm sorry. Motion by Phil Fasella, second. George? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the board? Hearing none, we're going to move on to the next agenda item.
I would move that we approve the minutes dated April 24th, 2024 as printed.
Second that.
Motion by Fasella, seconded by Friedman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will review the Decennial Committee report.
I would move that we approve the Decennial Committee report as printed on pages 4 through 31 of our packet.
Okay, it's been moved for approval.
Second.
Second by George Friedman. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Do we need a motion on submitting the decennial report to the county?
Well, the approved Decennial Committee report will be submitted to Champaign County.
We will do that post haste.
The clerk has distributed the survey of attending residents to all present in the audience. We will now adjourn momentarily and then begin our regular board meeting. Do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Fasella, second.
Second.
Second by George. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. We'll begin our regular CUMTD board meeting in just a moment. We'll be beginning our regular board meeting momentarily as soon as we hear from Tech Services. This is the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board meeting. It is Wednesday, June 26th. It's 3:10 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
DeVevick. Here. Delgado. Vasella.
Present.
Friedman.
Here.
Nudo. Ula. And Barnes.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
So moved.
Moved by Fasella,
Second.
second by Friedman. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll move on to the public hearing. The primary purpose of this hearing is to receive input from the public on the proposed fiscal year 2025 budget and appropriation ordinance for the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Beginning on May 21st, 2024, copies of the tentative budget were made available for public inspection on the district's website, mtd.org, under Public Hearings Documents. The notice of public hearing appeared in the News Gazette on May 25th, 2024, and the affidavit of publication is available for inspection. Are there any comments from the public on MTD's proposed budget and appropriation ordinance for FY 2025? Seeing no one from the public to address the board, we'll declare this public hearing on MTD's budget and appropriation ordinance for FY 2025 is closed. Next on the agenda is audience participation, but once again, seeing no one in our audience this afternoon. Hearing none, of course, we're going to move on to our next agenda item. Is there a motion to approve the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board meeting minutes from May 29th, 2024, open session?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Fasella,
Second Street.
second by Friedman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will move on to communications. Are there any communications from the board? Anything from Carl? How about the managing director's report? Carl?
That I can do. All right. This may be a new world's record for today's meeting. Okay, we are looking at May statistics. In May of 2024, there were a total of 572,703 rides, which is a 3.9% increase compared to last May, which had 550,987 rides. The year-to-date ridership is 13.1% above last year. Just real quickly, I want to note some routes that had some increases. The 180 Lime doubled its ridership by 121%. The 22 Illini Limited increased by 42%. The 14 Navy increased by 38%. And the 24 Link increased by 25.5%. So some significant increases there, primarily because we rolled back into service toward the end of the semester. So looking forward to seeing what the ridership for next year looks like with full service. And then the next chart there, just that's the one that we've been looking at every month that shows the stair-step recovery of ridership. Moving on to operating revenue, May 2024 operating revenue is 11.9% above May 2023, and the year-to-date operating revenue is 20.6% above fiscal year 2023. The May operating expenses were 5.6% above May 2023, and the year-to-date operating expenses were 11.9% above fiscal year 2023. The year-to-date operating revenues were $2.3 million above budget, while operating expenses are $4.3 million below budget. And with that, I just want to note that you may have seen an article in last weekend's newspaper, and one of the local TV stations did a little report on it too, that our Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski included a colloquially called earmark money for MTD to purchase some of the parcels out here on the west and south end of Illinois Terminal, which we would use in the expansion project. So, I've been telling you for months, I wish it had only been months, years, that we're trying to assemble the financing for this project, and this is an important piece of that financing puzzle. So it hasn't been approved fully by Congress yet, but we very much appreciate that Congresswoman Budzinski included that in her list of projects to be funded. So that's good news. And with that, I will take any questions through page 36 of your board report.
I guess I'd just say very good work on that. Obviously, she didn't just come up with that out of nowhere. There must have been a lot going on behind the scenes. So somebody was on top of that.
Yeah, thank you. Her office was very responsive, and we also submitted projects to Senator Durbin, who, as you recall, last year we got an earmark from his office, and we've included in Senator Duckworth's as well. So we've gotten really good representation from our Congress folks.
Any questions for Carl? Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Carl.
Dick,
Yes, sir.
this wasn't part of your report, but I just want to say to the board that the awards dinner that you had Sunday night was a very pleasant occasion. Unfortunately, Dick and I were the only two board members there, and I would encourage my fellow board members to attend such things and show your appreciation to our best employees. But it was a very nice occasion, and I appreciated being there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great event, and we love celebrating the good work that our employees do, and there are a lot of employees doing a lot of great work, so thank you.
I would ask, as soon as you calendar the next year's, let us know. We only had a couple weeks' notice, so I was unfortunately tied up with something else, but I'll mark it down.
10-4, will do.
Okay, now we'll move on to action items. We will discuss ordinance number 2024-1, adoption of budget and appropriation ordinance for FY 2025. Is there any discussion? Okay, in that case, I will entertain a motion that we approve this.
Move to approve it.
I guess I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
DeBevick,
In favor?
Bellato, Fasella,
Aye.
Friedman,
Aye.
Nudo,
Yes.
Ula, and Barnes.
Yes. Motion carries. Next, we'll discuss the annual update to the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan.
Okay, Brendan Sennett, our Texan transplant, will come up to give a presentation to you.
Yeah, Brendan?
Thanks, Carl. Good afternoon, Brendan Sennett, Safety and Training Director. Today I'm requesting the board's approval of this year's annual update to our agency safety plan, also called the PTASP. What the PTASP is it's a safety plan that details how the district is going to comply with federal regulations that have been in place since 2020. This will be our 4th revision of the original document, so the updates are pretty minimal. Probably the most significant was actually about a day or two after I completed the revision, FTA released 7 additional safety performance measures and targets to bring the total up to 14. So I had to go back and update that and fix that. So that is the newest addition to the law. Another inclusion that we have in this year's update is the introduction of our event review committee. And what that is we review causal investigations of safety events to find root cause and come up with plans to help reduce that level of risk to prevent future accidents of that type. Other than that, some of the changes that we made were motivated by a webinar hosted by IDOT featuring a consultant that pretty much told us exactly what an auditor, what a PTASP auditor would look for during their audit. So we took advantage of that opportunity to make sure that our plan met those criteria and would do well for any future audit. So that's it. Any questions?
Questions for Brendan? George?
Not a question, but a general comment about this and the other reports in this packet. I'm not a trained accountant. I don't know if any of my fellow board members are, but stumbling through the accounting jargon made it very difficult to read. Can you put future things in terms that a layman like me can understand? I would appreciate it very much.
Other comments or questions? Okay, thank you, Brendan. Do I have a motion to approve the annual update to the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan?
So move.
Moved by Fasella, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. DeBevick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next we'll discuss the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, GASB 87 lease and GASB 96 subscription-based information technology arrangements policy. And to address us concerning this, Michelle?
Hi, I'm Michelle Wright. I'm the Finance Director. And I think I completely understand what you're saying with the policy we're talking about right now. But this was a policy that was recommended by our auditors, and they provided the template for the policy, which we updated for what we actually chose to do to implement those 2 statutes, those 2 GASB statements. So GASB is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, and they set all the rules for government accounting. And they came out with these new rules for 87, number 87 that was about leases, and number 96 that was about subscription-based information technology arrangements policy, which basically means if we are signed up for any kind of software subscription, we need to consider whether it would apply, that these rules would apply. This policy just documents what we chose to do when we implemented GASB 87 and 96 for fiscal year 22. But it was a recommendation of the audit that we document that, and that is why we're coming to you to say this is what we did. Any questions?
No questions? Okay, thank you, Michelle. Do we have a motion to approve the Governmental Accounting Standards Board GASB 87 lease and GASB 96 subscription-based information technology arrangements policy?
So moved.
Moved by Fasella. Second by DeBevick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have a question for Michelle. So,
to Mr. Friedman's point, there's a big difference between public accounting and private accounting, correct?
Yeah, the GASB is the government side, and FASB with an F is what sets the private rules for accounting.
And your background in training and education is more toward the public side or private side?
Boy, I've done lots of different things. So when I first started out of college, I did general auditing, and I was on an audit for the city of Rantoul and a bank and a glass place, lots of different experiences there. I then moved to the Champaign Country Club for 20 years, which was a very unique 501c7 nonprofit situation. Then I was fortunate enough to go back to CLA to do outsourcing to help all different kinds of businesses, and that found my way. That is what led me here at MTD to help with a need that was in the office, and so I had that year to learn, and then I came on board, and I've been learning ever since.
Like George, I know private accounting are better than public, and I know we ran into several issues that I didn't quite understand in terms of how leases work and the first time around, and it is something to talk about, consider.
Generally, especially on the leases, I know that is something that FASB has changed also, and they are also doing it similar to how GASB has said to do it. I could offer my opinion on that later if you'd like to hear it, but yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. The next regular Board of Trustees meeting will be on Wednesday, July 31st, 2024 at 3 p.m. right here at the Illinois Terminal, 45 East University in Champaign. Do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Fasella, second.
Second.
Second by Friedman. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.